episode 9.3, week 9, day 3 of my super death grind. How is it going? For 2 years, I'm grinding my face off relentlessly. And yes, I'm pissed off today for no good reason, for many good reasons. Let's get into it. So, how's my death grind going? Mm, in a lot of aspects, phenomenal. In a lot of aspects, still phenomenal. These are all overcomable things. So, getting off caffeine feels great. I feel really good. I feel mentally super duper clear. The interesting thing I was thinking about on my way here to the office is that there's a long time in the morning where I don't say any words. And I'm thinking to myself, which is pretty rare because I try to not let myself think in my own head these days. I find that when I just say what I'm thinking, when people are around me, that's how you get stuff done quicker. You just don't allow yourself to think in your head unless what you're thinking is potentially going to have negative implications on the conversation vis-a-vis. You're going to say something rude, right? Then you need to think about it, process it, and saying, is that thing I'm going to say rude because it's blunt and it's true, or is that thing I'm going to say rude because it's true, but maybe it's not tactful, or is it hurtful and not true? So those are some things to think about. I have my mask right here; it's bothering me. So typically, I don't let myself think in my head, but I think in my head a lot on my way to the office, and I wonder how am I going to sound today. So what I mean by that is, am I thinking fast today? Am I going to speak fast today? Because typically, when I'm speaking fast, it means I'm thinking fast, and it's a good sign that my brain is firing clearly. So another interesting thing is I feel high right now, not because I've taken any drugs, but well, I did take some NyQuil last night, but not because I've taken any drugs. But part of that is I think from uh, I did funny story. I did some breathing exercise on the way here. I'll get into that in a second, but I think it's a combination with the breathing exercises and lack of caffeine. I just have really, really, really solid energy levels, and I don't know if this is a combination of like eating healthy and breathing exercises and meditations and lack of caffeine and all that, or it's just a synergistic effect, or it's implicitly, specifically, no caffeine. Um, but my vision feels really clear. My vision feels the clearest it's ever felt in a long time. Like when I look at things, it's just like I have hawk eyesight. It's really peculiar. And I think a lot of the times is that you'll have I know when I eat a lot of carbs or I wake up and I have had a diet that has had high carbohydrates, I just feel kind of like this pressure in my eyes. And I know a lot of times that people that have um, insulin problems that are, pre or currently diabetic, they complain a lot of times of blurry eyesight because you have issues with like sugar levels and insulin levels, and I think there's a lot of pressure and it blurs out your eyesight. So it could be a combination of that. Is when I did not eat very much yesterday, so there's a lot of synergistic effects going on here. But my eyesight and everything just seems really clear and vivid. Colors seem really vivid, so it's just got a euphoric effect on it. Sounds crazy, I know, and I may be a little bit crazy, but that's fine. So yeah, that's going really well. Um, I am, they say when, man, I'm on my last page of my legal pad. I was hoping this would last me all the way until the end of the month, but here we are. They say when you become out of balance in certain things. So if you have focus over here, like if you focus on your family, maybe it takes away from business over here. If you focus on business over here, maybe it takes away from your family. So they say, when you're hyper focused on something, that maybe you lose balance in other areas. A lot of times I would disagree. And I would say when you're hyper focused, that a lot of things just start clicking and you have just the right amount of balance in life and things operate very smoothly overall in life. But I've been getting into some arguments, let's call them, with my wife. And a lot of this has to do with my time commitments at home and falling asleep early. So I think I'm going to revamp how I do my polyphasic sleeping. and I think I'm going to try to fall asleep later and wake up a little bit later. So even if that's like going to bed at like 10 and waking up around 2 or so, depending on how much sleep I am. But I woke up today. I woke up at midnight today. I don't know what time I fell asleep, probably pretty early, probably around like 8. And obviously the kids were still awake, and I just ended up falling asleep in bed watching a movie with them. And my wife doesn't like that too much, and I wouldn't disagree. I need to wait till the kids go to bed to fall asleep so I can spend time with them and be there for them and help her. So I think I'm going to extend out what time I actually fall asleep and extend, obviously, what time I wake up because of that, just so I can spend more time with my kids at night and not be so tired. But I woke up at midnight and I was like, you need to get a little bit more sleep if you're going to stay up a little later today and extend it out. So I took the Q, NyQuil, ladies and gentlemen, not an insane amount, so don't go robo tripping on me, but I took it around midnight and then I ended up falling back asleep shortly thereafter and woke up around 3:30 or 4. I think it's currently 5:34 in the morning. So I'm going to extend it out, and I'm sure that's just going to be hunky dory. That's going to be totally fine. But the other thing I wanted to talk about today um, was why you're not happy. And a lot of times when I phrase things like this, why you're not happy, I'm actually talking about myself. And granted, I'm very happy currently. But when I say these things, these are basically lessons learned that I've learned in my short life as to why I'm not happy. And I hope to share this and hope to take something from it. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go Chrome tab, share. Let's make sure show in stream. I'm going to show me. I used to have a girlfriend in high school when I was 16 or so. I was super angry, and she actually handed me a self-development book, and I kind of laughed through it, and I was like, this is hilarious. This is funny. Like, I don't need self-development. Like, I'm not the issue. You're the issue. And she told me, she said, "Hey, isn't it hard being angry?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "Isn't it so much energy for you to be angry right now?" And I was just like, whatever. But the truth is, it is so much angry to be energy. And it is just anytime you make a decision about something, anytime you decide to pursue something, anytime you decide to enact immediate positive change or negative change for that matter, it's a decision, right? Because you can say, screw this friendship, I'm never coming back. You say, screw this marriage, I'm leaving town, I'm never coming back. Right? You can make all those sorts of decisions, and you decide it in an instant, just like you can decide to be happy in an instant. You say, you know what? This negativity, all this negative energy, all this unhappiness, not for me. It's not going to work anymore. I'm going to decide to be happy. And it's just a decision. You decide, you make up your mind how happy you want to be. And it's easy as that. It's easy as a decision. You say, and a lot of times this comes from dysfunction. You say, I've had enough of this life. Something's got to change. And they say that's the day you decide. And it's different for everyone what leads you to that decision. A lot of times for people, it's rock bottom. Sometimes it's a moment of clarity or a coming to Jesus moment, however you want to phrase it, whether you believe in Jesus or not. But a lot of times it's just a moment that leads you to this decision when you've decided enough is enough. If you want to go on a diet and you say, you know what, I've had enough of this body, I've had enough of feeling this way, I've had enough of not treating myself in a loving fashion, I've had enough of worrying about heart disease in my family, and you just make a decision and you enact that decision. It's easy as that, night and day. It's all based on a decision. Ben Franklin, what else did he say? Life is like plastic. We can mold our surroundings and ourselves. It's up to us to create with an end product in mind. So anytime you do something, life is malleable. You can create everything around yourself, how you want your life to look, who you want to surround yourself with, what you read, what you take in your mind, how you interact with the universe. You can decide all of those things for yourself. And it is vitally important that you do that with the end concept in mind. What is it ultimately that you are trying to create and mold around you? Is it positivity? Is it happiness? Is it joy? Is it love? Is it caring? Is it share? Or is it something crappy? Is it something poopy? Is it negativity? Is it hate? Is it angst? Is it depression? Is it whining and crying? Is it complaining? You are in direct control of how you mold your life. And the moment you start taking ownership of those sorts of things is the moment you can start changing your life. If you do not take control and ownership of all the little things going on in your life down to the big things, you will fail and you will be unhappy. The last thing I wrote in my notes, it says, this is all from Ben Franklin, man. He was a smart dude, I think. If you're not happy doing what you're doing today in pursuit of, you can never be happy and you can never be successful. So it's kind of a reiteration of the first thing, but the big key takeaway there is success is a pleasure. So if you were doing something, you're grinding your face away today, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, you're a nanny, a dental hygienist, a doctor, or a lawyer, success should be a pleasure. And if you don't find joy in your day-to-day, you're not going to be happy. If you do not find pleasure in your success, and every day should be that success, there's no big thing when you reach there. There's no big milestone where you're like, yeah, I'm happy now. Because I mean, a lot of times I think about Elon Musk. Was he happy when he made PayPal? Was he happy when he was a millionaire? Was he happy when he sold PayPal? Was he happy when he started SpaceX? Was he happy when he's, a multi-billionaire now with multiple companies that are benefiting the world, and his rocket, just made it to successful orbit? Was that enough for him? No, of course not, because he finds daily pleasure in his successes. And the sooner you get away from this thing, realizing that when you get to a destination, that's where happiness is, that is a lie. And you could die tomorrow. If you are not happy in pursuit of doing the thing you're trying to do today with what you're creating, with what you're molding, you will never be happy. End of story. It doesn't work that way. You need to be happy today. So let's go back to the to just kind of reiterate what's going on here and basically why why people are unhappy. And a lot of this is your pursuit of, right? If your pursuit is just money, right? You say, "Oh, I'm chasing the dollars, and when I get there, I'm going to be happy." You're going to die. You're not going to be happy. You can't do a pursuit of just for the money. But if you have legit dreams, I don't know, I'm running out of space here. That's a If you have legit dreams over here, then you're going to be a-okay. That's a check mark for positivity. You're going to be totally fine. So a lot of this is about taking ownership and realizing that you're the problem. You have to realize that you are your problem. You are all your problems. In fact, you're the only problem in your life. Everyone is perfect as far as you're concerned. You are your only problem because we live in a vicious feedback loop cycle. The world sends us stuff, we interpret it, we process it, process it, and then we send it back out into the world. And how we view the world, how we view ourselves, how self-aware we are has direct impact on how happy we are. And until you take ownership for everything in your life, if someone T-bones me in an intersection, I could be like, F you, this was your fault for T-boning me. Or I could say, I'm going to take ownership of this. And if I didn't hop in my car at that moment, at that time, and drive down that road, it's my fault I'm here. I just happen to be the person you were T-boning at this moment. You have to take ownership for everything in your life. And until you start taking ownership, you will never be happy. Never, ever, 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 ever. There's exceptions to every rule. And maybe some people are super happy out there that don't take ownership, but they're the exception to the rule and not the rule itself. And it's better to live by the rule than to live by the exception, because everyone wants to be in the 1% without actually being in the 1%. I had 100 people show up to a Vegas table and I said, "Hey, do you think you're the 1%? The 1% get to live, but you roll this dice, 99 of you are going to die. How many people would actually take that roll? Do not think you're in that 1%. I am not in that 1%. I am the 99. Live by the rule and not the exception." And it's easy to see how you want to live by the rule when you put it in that terms of life and death scenario. You walk up to a table, you have 99 out of 100 odds of dying. Do you want to take that chance? No, you are not the 1%, nor am I. No one is. Very few people are. So that's it for today. I want to encourage you to be happy. Happy people. Be nice to each other and take ownership.